of my past. As time went on, my hunger to discover the truth grew to the point I founded the Paranormal Raider Force as a front to feed the growing monster. What you are about to hear are pieces of research I have done over the years, documented in the journals of my team to find out what really happens in the world. And maybe, just maybe, there's something never before seen in this. You are about to find out. This is Journals of Supernatural Adventure. We are part of an endless cosmos that is constantly growing. New discoveries await in the heavens above, since we have locked our eyes on those positions. But have you ever wondered if something is looking right back at us for a similar endeavor? Have you ever wondered if we have made contact with a friend that descended from the sky? According to our evidence, we are not the only ones who made contact. In fact, at first, in our early history, we were actually the contacted. But who are the extraterrestrials that came to our world? What did they do while they were here? And what did they leave behind? The answers to these questions and more are going to be answered on tonight's episode of Journals of Supernatural Adventure. My name is Dakota Franson, and through my research in the worlds of the unknown, I have found evidence of mysterious creatures from the sky, government hands that try to hide it all, and just for tonight, who the beings are from stars above. While we hear about previous encounters with entities of all shapes and sizes in our favorite sci-fi films. We hear about humanoid visitors to our planet, but hardly anybody is taking on the question of how many different civilizations are interacting with our world. Tonight, we change that. In the first of an alien mini-series, we take on the phenomena that is said to have come from the stars. Starting with the ancient alien creatures. Now, to fit everything into the available time slot, we are only going to discuss the civilizations that are most active. In our previous episode, you heard me mention the possibility of Bigfoot being a possible extraterrestrial species. In fact, we have found the possibility for their existence being documented in ancient Norse texts at the realm of Jotunheim, the world inhabited by giants of rock and ice. Now, when you think about it, the way to describe the Jotuns is a way of labeling different species. The rock giants are species more oriented to the forest and underground cave systems. The ice giants are species like the Yeti in the Himalayas that are more adapted to the harsh cold terrain with thicker coats of fur. Where would this world exist in the cosmos? Well, remember that mysterious photo back in 2008 from the Mars rover Spirit? The alleged photo that showed a mysterious figure that was pretty much looked like he was just kicking back on Mars? Well, compare that figure with some early shots of the Sasquatch. Aren't there some odd similarities between the two? Now, I know the figure was debunked as a weird rock formation, but you also gotta consider that the distance between Earth and Mars varies between 54.6 million and 225 million kilometers, depending on the location of the orbits. The information relayed from a rover to NASA can be heavily distorted, and some information is even lost in space. Who's to say that there wasn't a picture taken that showed the lost city of Atlantis in full manifestation? Who is to say that the figure wasn't actually a spirit of a deceased Martian? There are too many possibilities that actually exist in photos, which is why mainstream science constantly makes a push to be able to shake hands with the creature. Now, the behavior of these creatures varies between each report. Here in North America, well, on most accounts, Bigfoot is pretty laid back. Sightings in itself often involve someone seeing a Sasquatch looks back, Sasquatch then walks away unaffected, just minding its own business. But if you pick on its temper, that is where you will find some trouble. These creatures have incredible strength, and they are not afraid to make you aware of it. Most commonly, if you anger them, they will pelt you with rocks of massive size, and sometimes branches they will personally rip off of trees. There are a few legends from North American settlers that contain reports of Bigfoot attacks. Even one where a hunter was eaten by one. Now go to even earlier reports, and you'll find that native tribes actually treated Sasquatch like they would have treated a spiritual elder, a watcher of humanity. And even in some cases, creatures like these were used as weapons of intimidation. They were once part of our society that was backstabbed by religious preachers that took their abilities and took their knowledge as a sign of some sort of Luciferic agenda. Now, I personally had a counter with a juvenile Bigfoot and its mama, and trust me, as far as attacking each other, we both followed similar philosophy. You respect me, I respect you. Now, since Bigfoot has the knowledge of a universe greater than mankind, and their space brethren obviously have a good understanding of technology, it is safe to assume that they have organized a simpler methods of communication. Many may think that such a being with the abilities like that of Sasquatch, or if my theory is correct, Jotuns, they would have some sort of telepathic connections that would allow for speechless conversations. That is not true. If you're one of those people that think that way, please answer this question for me. Why would Bigfoot need a high-pitched screech / blood-curdling yell of a call if it could use telepathy like a phone? Plus, the species also hold their own language that, honestly, sounds like a person's born deaf when they are trying to speak. Now, Bigfoot has actually been beneficial to human evolution, for its purposes served as a teacher to the ways of nature. It is said that some old wizards had gone mad because they would spend their time in the forest with creatures that are described just like Bigfoot. Plus, from a scientific perspective, the Bigfoot phenomena gives an ideal direction to look for the path between mankind and apes. However, their own evolution has branched off to fit the ideal conditions for their desired habitats. In fact, the heavy brush that tends to be considered the home of Bigfoots would be ideal for a creature that huge. Now, one thing that is interesting about the Bigfoot phenomena is that if it is indeed an extraterrestrial, it established a home here on Earth. Now, other alien phenomena don't necessarily have that, other than a random location to hide, or maybe even hidden bases here on Earth provided by our governments. Now, before I continue on with the show, I'd like to point out that I'm starting with alien species that are currently most involved with humanity at this very point. So far, it appears that about 4 extraterrestrial civilizations currently hold some sort of influence here on Earth. I say this because we continue to hear about them to this day. More after these messages.
Now available on Amazon.com, Hauntings from the Snake River Plain. Over 250 pages of spooky tales from all around southern Idaho. You can read about mysterious caves, visitations from mysterious strangers, a haunted elementary school, and much more. Buy a copy and take a look on page 243 to see a special surprise. Friends, a segment of Paranormal Raider Force to Dakota, and you are in the state of Idaho. There will be 2 parties to help launch the book. More information will be available on the book's website provided in the further information link in the episode description.
Are you a fan of the Paranormal Raider Force and would like to show it off? Well, now you can. The team has opened an online store with a variety of products specially designed by Dakota Franzen. Keep an eye open towards our online social networking pages for special codes to get discounts on your purchases. New products are added to the shop every 3rd Sunday of the month, so if you're in the need of a paranormal fix from the team to take on the go, head to Zazzle.com/PRFlair to view our fine selection.
And we are back to Journals of Supernatural Adventure. Tonight we attempt to identify the extraterrestrials that are visiting our planet in the present day. I have already discussed one of the more famous ETs involved with our culture, Bigfoot. Like I said earlier, Bigfoot is of no threat unless it feels threatened. But there are civilizations involved with our society that are much more of a threat to our personal beings, other than to a civilization as a whole. The alien greys, as they are referred to, are the most encountered species according to alien abduction victims. Of course, some are of hoax. The ones of truth are truly an interesting species. They are so technologically advanced that their bodies have become nothing more than skin and bone and gray matter because of it. However, their vast knowledge allowed for a massive cranium to make up for their small figure. However, since they are masters in logic, not much other human mental state is present. They hold no sense of emotion, spirit. In fact, they are said to feed off of spiritual energy, which is caused by some of the markings found on abduction victims. Why do they take these specimens, though? It is rumored that they are not capable of reproduction due to the fact that they have self-cloned themselves for quite some time and need DNA to preserve their species. In fact, the rumor then extends to a much more disturbing end, and it is said that greys impregnate female victims in order to start the incubation process. Then after a few months, they take the fetus from the mother without a single trace that it was even there. They deceive their victims, bring them to their ships, and perform experiments on them. Some people may wonder, why doesn't our government do something? Well, the fact that the government isn't doing something is the result of them doing something. More information later to explain. Now, back in World War II, the Nazis were in development of very advanced war machines that take on the appearance of modern-day UFOs. In fact, it is said that German scientists were able to build these machines and add on a few touches of their own, from reverse engineering a UFO that crashed in the Black Forest. This event sparked Adolf Hitler's curiosity, as well as that of a few members of certain secret societies. Within these societies were mediums that had the capability of contacting beings from other planets. The planet that seemed to have the most focus on was Aldebaran. Now, these societies acknowledged that the ancient people knew of great technology that ran off of energy of the universe known to the Aldebaranians as Vril. These mediums received telepathic instructions for what they called Vril machines that, after being written through automatic writing sessions, were found to be written in ancient Sumerian text. They were contacting the gods from our ancient past. But who are the Aldebaranian people? They are certainly not the Greys, but possibly another species involved with the rumored Greta Pact. More on the Greta Pact later. The instructions were then used to build several machines that actually put Nazi Germany as the winner of the Second World War as far as technology is concerned. Interestingly enough, the Aldebaran people are said to have believed that if providing Earthlings with the instructions to build these machines that would require no dependency on oil that was run off of other countries, then it would be possible to end our constant warfare. But they had misjudged who they gave those instructions to. As shortly after the instructions were received and a successful model was built, Adolf Hitler sent Nazi Germany into the Second World War during his invasion of Poland. For quite some time, the Nazi Party actually had the upper hand in the war. But after their defeat, it is said that instead of prosecuting German scientists, President Truman brought them to the U.S. to start building real weaponry for our uses. More on that later on after the messages.
Have you or someone you know ever been in an abusive relationship? In the pursuit of ending domestic abuse, the Paranormal Raider Force has joined in the creation of a book made with the intention of showing young teen the red flags of a potentially abusive relationship to prevent further loss of life in the chase for love. You can send in your stories by falsifying any names involved with your struggle. If you wish to send in your story, please read the guidelines and the link provided in the episode description.
And we are back with Journals of Supernatural Adventure. Tonight, we are discussing alien species. Who is it that holds influence in our world? We have left off with the notion that Hitler's forces actually held the upper hand for World War II at certain points, but it was very short-lived. Hitler knew that he would need an escape route, so using Vril technology, the Germans colonized part of Antarctica and held secret bases in Argentina. Some of Hitler's top generals actually escaped the approaching forces believed to be heading. They escaped the approaching Allied forces, and that are believed. Some of Hitler's top generals actually managed to escape approaching Allied forces and were believed to be heading towards the South Pole, or even a safe location offered by Aldebaran. At the end of the war, it is said that a pact was made with President Eisenhower. It was made by President Eisenhower with a species of gray alien, from the reticular star system. These beings acknowledged that conquest was actually not part of their intention. However, they needed human DNA to fix their dying race. In return of allowing for their scientists to gather the necessary DNA, they would bring us some of their technology while providing a list of DNA contributors directly to the government. Over time, the terms of this pact were leaked to lesser agencies involved in the government. In fact, it also reached the ropes of the Vatican. At this point, the Pope was actually contacted by another alien species, the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians warned the Pope that the beings from the reticular star system were not to be trusted. Now, the Pleiadians actually look similar to the depictions of our ancient gods. In fact, they are the most human-looking alien species yet. There have not been many reports of the Pleiadians interacting with humanity, and in some reports they appear to be one of the most peaceful races, or at least the most calm. Their technology surpasses our own by 3,000 years, and the race also claims to be the first humanoids to ever develop hyperspace travel. On a side note, the U.S. government actually is rumored to have possessed technologies that enter hyperspace travel ever since the 1940s. The story goes that several of Hitler's scientists that have worked on UFO technologies were offered a chance to work for us instead of being put in prison. We will have more on that in our next episode as we talk about alien technology. We have altered our alien miniseries to better suit the topics of discussion. In our alien technology episode, I will reveal what ETs have possessed and what it allows for them to do. We will go to stories in our ancient history to modern day encounters to try to get an inventory of the weaponry and the tools used by extraterrestrials and how they are using against us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. Tune in on September 29th to hear our next episode. For now, we leave you with AMAT.
If you would like to know more about the work of the Paranormal Raider Force, be sure to visit their website at fransonfiles.webs.com. If you would like to speak with Jacoby Franson on your show, please visit the contact page on the PRF website to look for guidelines to request an interview. By clicking on the PRF Universe tab, you can see our work online at any time. You can also purchase merchandise designed by Jacoby Franson at www.zezel.com/prflayer. If you are in the southern Idaho area and wish to have the Paranormal Raider Force investigate a claimant activity, be sure to check the contact tab on our website for guidelines on how to request an investigation. Follow that PRF anytime on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus by either going on our links tab or by search for the team on your favorite online search engine.